Hey, welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. I'm Dylan, and I'm an integrative health coach. And today's topic is healing yourself holistically using integrative medicine and ideas when a symptom crops up. If you know about integrative health, or if you don't know, hopefully this will be informative and inspiring and or a good reminder for you if you already know what I'm talking about. So, this is my hand, and this is it making a fist, and I couldn't do that yesterday. My hand was frozen in this position. This knuckle was really swollen, and I couldn't flex my hand. And my brain instantly went to panic mode, like, oh my God, I have arthritis. This runs in my family. I'm getting old, and how can this be happening? And then the next thought was, I am really too healthy of a person to be having this problem. I know that arthritis is caused by inflammation. I know my nutrition, my lifestyle habits really don't feed that kind of hypothesis that I'd be developing arthritis, right? So I had to think a little bit critically about what I was going to do next. So the first thing I started doing was using allopathic means. So I started just taking a pain reliever because the pain was so intense. The swelling and, the discomfort, I couldn't even wash my hands. It was so bad. Then I started to think critically, like, how could this have happened? So I considered that I developed this really bad habit, and it involves a device, of course, but I was holding my phone. I don't even want to do it because it's going to trigger the inflammation. And my left hand is my dominant hand, so of course I was doing that. And I was doing it way too often. I was doing it so subconsciously, scrolling, but this was a subconscious thing. But it was once I realized where the pain was and like where the source of it was that I started to think this is probably what caused it. Well, then what am I going to do about it? So I tried using pain relievers. I tried using homeopathic creams, but none of those things were working. And in fact, the more I was trying and the more it wasn't working, the more stressed out I was becoming. So I want to make that point to you that often the source of inflammation is stress. And I've been under a tremendous amount of stress in the past year, but definitely the past few years. I mean, who isn't these days, right? It has to go somewhere. That stress has to go somewhere. And I know for a fact that the cortisol is working itself out of my body slowly but surely, and this was probably just one other way that it was happening. So after giving it a couple days, trying everything that I could possibly think of or had by myself, there's an acupuncturist that lives downstairs. I had my first session with him last week and felt the effects of it right away. It was actually my first acupuncture session ever, and it was pretty powerful. So I thought to myself, maybe something of what we did triggered this response, and I just need to have like a follow-up visit. He starts inserting needles in my right foot. Remember, this is my left hand. So because there's this whole thing about like meridians and stuff like that I don't really understand, but I completely respect. Within a minute, I could actually flex my hand, probably till about this point. And then over the next few minutes, I could do it more and more. It was still very swollen. It was very, very painful, but at least I could move it. I couldn't believe it. By the time I left, it was still inflamed, still painful, but there was definite progress. And I knew from just being in the field for 25 years, it wasn't going to happen immediately, but I had a lot of faith. I then go and buy some homeopathic pills that are specifically designed for joint inflammation that I knew about from working in the health food stores for so many years. Started taking the pills immediately, drinking more water. As of last night, things hadn't improved to the point that I'd hoped, but I was optimistic. So as I went to bed, I used some Tiger Balm. I wrapped it up in an ace bandage and then slept with it kind of like propped up to kind of help the fluid drain out. So, and I wrapped it so that it wasn't very tight, and I knew when it was too tight, when it was throbbing, and then I loosened it, and it was fine. Woke up this morning, still a little bit stiff, but within 2 hours, I would say probably about 10 a.m., I was at like 90%. I would say we're pretty close to 100% at this point. It's seriously unbelievable. I couldn't move my hand for 2 whole days, and within the past 24 hours, that inflammation's gone. The last thing that I want to share with you is the work that he was doing. And I said to him something like, there's this theme about letting go. So it wouldn't be ironic that it has to do with my hand and my grip, right? And he looks at me and he goes, it's also the heart meridian, which there's a lot there about my heart and a lot that's coming up and coming out. Many of you have been watching know that my therapist died suddenly in June. And to be honest with you, I was like in such go mode. I never really gave myself the time to fully grieve him. So I've been really giving myself that space and that time to like let those feelings come up and out. I've also been doing a lot of intentional work just dealing with the feelings and what's coming up going on in the world, specifically our country. And just I knew that a lot of what was going on in my hand, I knew a lot of that had to do with all the things that are going on right now. So my message to you is if something comes up, if you get some kind of symptom in your body, maybe it's acne, maybe it's an ache or pain, maybe it's some kind of GI issue, to really explore different modalities and different techniques and think of yourself as a whole person. Think of like the whole thing of what's going on in your life. Try different things before you kind of run off. I easily could have been like, oh no, I have arthritis, it runs in my family, I'm going to go get cortisone shots or surgery. But I know enough to explore all these other means first, and that's the wisdom I wanted to share and pass on with you today. I hope you got something from it, and I wish you the best. See you next week. Thanks for watching, and tune in for next week's episode, How to Deal with Difficult People, at work and in life. And as always, come say hey at dylandigiovanni.com. Thanks.